Guys, I messed up. I forgot to film an intro with this knife before I sold it. Here it is. Wow, isn't that pretty? Look how beautiful. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Brown Knives Cortex XL. Alright, this is one of those knives that comes in a pretty nice case. Made in the USA, s3cases.com. So not a Pelican case, but that sort of a case. Seems well made, better made than a lot of these kind of cases are. And here's your knife. This is a really good looking example of this knife as well. Pretty fancy anode job. Most of the ones I see on the archive are not this nice, with this two-tone anodizing. It's got a blue base and then the high points are all gold. Yeah, it looks really cool in the light. If I could say one thing about this knife, it'd be the action. This thing has perfect action. I mean, if you like Shirgorovs and Machine Wise and Holt, it's on that level. We're talking like top tier, best in the world kind of stuff. Although I didn't make it look very good there, did I? There we go. Reverse flicks well. It's got this long fuller, the whole length of the blade. Kind of getting ahead of myself though. Under here you got your normal stuff: sticker, a tool, certificate of authenticity. The tool here is for adjusting, well, let me just talk about that. The coolest thing about this to me is that this, the guy who designed this, Mr. Brown. What is your name, Mr. Brown? Who knows? Some say his name is George. Some say I'm wrong. He designed this thing with an adjustable detent and an adjustable lockup. So you can open this thing up and change that. Actually, this thing, one thing maybe I should mention is it came with a little detent lash. I mean, it moves just a little bit. And if I shake it by the mic, you can kind of hear that. It wasn't so bad that I felt that I needed to immediately tear it apart and fix it, so I didn't, especially since I'm probably going to send this on down the road after I do the review of it, just because I have too much money parked in these. I'm not rich, I can't keep all these knives, so I just got to buy them, do the videos, and send them on, unless I just can't help myself. So this one will probably be leaving, so I'm not going to tear it apart and mess with that. But it is adjustable, and I think that's really, really cool. That's such a nerdy thing to do. You know, a knife guy, a knife nerd made this knife for sure. Adjustable detent pressure, adjustable lash, adjustable lockup percentage. That's just a really cool idea. I hope that catches on. I hope we see more of that. Now, this thing is called the Cortex XL, but don't let that fool you. It's really not a very big knife. This is a fairly good sized knife. This is a Shirogorov Q95. Here's one most people know. This is the PM2, and then a large Sabenza, or large Inkosi in this case. It is easily the smallest one on the table. I would call this a medium-sized knife. I kind of think, honestly, I think of the PM2 as a medium-sized knife, but I guess it's a little big, isn't it? This is probably PM3 size. So not XL, despite the name. Bigger than the original Cortex, maybe. I'm actually not familiar with the original Cortex. Did he even make one? Surely he did, right? He wouldn't just jump straight to XL, or he would just call it the Cortex. But I've never handled or seen one in person, or even Googled it. Maybe I should do that. I imagine this is bigger. Man, that thing has such good action. Wait real quick, I know it's boring, but let's get through it. 3.6 ounces, very light for a titanium knife. Q95 is heavy, this thing's 4.8. Inkosi, 4.9. The PM2, I think, is 4 on the dot, or 3.9. Yeah, 4 on the dot. So, smallest knife, lightest knife. It feels heavier than it is, though. It feels dense, because it's kind of small, and that's all packed into a little small package. It feels dense. I mean, not in a bad way. It feels like a high-quality knife. It has an interesting flipper design. It's kind of a front flipper, but it flips like a normal knife. Like, you don't have to do anything weird with it. You're not doing this weird over the side shit. You just flip it like a normal back flipper, and it rockets right out. Easy to get a hold of, right over the edge there. Sometimes these front flipper knives I have trouble with, but this one is really easy. You don't even have to think about it. It just comes out. Feels really good, really fast. It slides home without any shaking. It has no problem with the detent placement. I mean, as soon as you hit this lock bar, you are off the detent. Disengage the lock, and there's no detent. Like, it's immediately gone. Insane. If you watch my channel, you know that's a thing I complain about a lot. Detent placement. I can't stand it when I drop a flipper knife onto my thumb and then it's still on the detent. Shirogorov has like the longest detent ramps in the business. I'm off of it there. This thing, if you hit this release and let go, it will pop it back up. So there is a little bit of a ramp there, but if you're actually trying to close it and you just hit it, I mean, it just goes down. You don't really think about it. Very good action. Falls shut. Very, very smooth. It's one of those knives where you can't really feel where the blade is. It's a lot smoother even than this Shirogorov, but to be fair to Shirogorov, this is a cheaper knife. This thing costs almost double what this does. Well, that's a little dramatic. This is like 650 bucks or something like that, so this is most of the price of this one, but it is cheaper. But Shiro uses these like steel ball bearings, and there are a bunch of them, so there's a lot of contact areas, so they do make some noise, but I kind of like it. I'm not talking about that knife. I need to talk about this knife. This knife is glass smooth. I can't feel the bearings, I can't feel the blade, it just moves. It doesn't make any noise that I can detect. No play, no lock rock, as you would expect. The clip is really cool. It blends in with the pattern of the handle, and they left a bare spot underneath it so it's not going to shred your pocket, and that's a nice attention to detail. The knife is very slim in the hand. It reminds me kind of a Machine-Wise Mojave, that slim design, except this one doesn't have a lock bar on the outside for you to pinch, and that's a weakness of the Mojave. This thing being a liner lock, a nested liner lock, you don't have to worry about where you're holding it. It just comes out. I mean, this is a really, really good knife. I'm very tempted to keep this knife, but it's so expensive, and I've already got too much sunk into things I can't bear to sell, so I may not keep this one around. But man, it's tempting, and there's almost no hardware on the thing. You got your pivot, and you got one body screw, and that is it. It's just a really, really well thought out, well designed knife. If I had one complaint about it, maybe I would say it's not big enough. I know it's the XL, but I really wish this thing was a little bigger. I was actually surprised when I got it how small it was. Yeah, see a 3 1/4 inch blade, it got right at 3 inches of cutting edge, and that's it. And the whole blade from the tip to the plunge grind is just over 3 1/4 inches, so not a big knife. So if I could have my way, I'd have a Cortex XL maybe, but it's still a nice size. It's not like too small or anything, it just surprised me, that's all. Just because the name is a little misleading. I'd rather have, you know, another 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch of blade. But I kind of prefer bigger knives. I mean, this is not a huge knife to me, but it is a huge knife. Shirogorovs are almost all huge knives. But that's kind of that's my wheelhouse, that's what I like. So if I could have my way, I'd have this a little bigger. But really good fit and finish. Have absolutely no complaints about that, other than it came from the factory with a badly tuned detent. That could have been better. I think you should have adjusted that a little better at the factory, but it is adjustable, so I'm not going to really call it a flaw. You can put it however you want it. Maybe that doesn't bother you. But since it's adjustable, I can't really call it a flaw, or I don't feel like I can. It came very sharp. Let's cut up some cigar aficionado. Jeff Dye, you've met your match. Really, really thin behind the edge. This is a fairly thick blade stock, but it's tapered down a little bit the fuller tapers. The top of it tapers out, but the fuller runs the whole length. It gets to a fairly thin point behind the edge, but that's mostly not tapered this way. It's the hollow grind. This thing is ground really thin, all the way down to, you know, 1/3 of the way down the blade. It's very, very thin, even here. Even halfway up, it's very thin. So it's a very slicey knife that's going to do all your EDC stuff you need to do without a problem. Do I recommend this knife? Yes, if you can afford it. These are not cheap. They're also not easy to get. I've been on the wait list for these things for a couple of months, and I have not got an email. I don't see them drop very often. I had to get this one used. It took a while of hunting them to even get one where I felt it was a fair price. A lot of people are asking over $1,000 for these things. I think I paid $950 plus tax and shipping, so it was over $1,000 even used. So not cheap. Definitely not a cheap knife. It's recommendable, but only if you're looking for an ultra high-end knife. This is a ultra high-end production semi-custom knife, and I mean, if you're shopping in that territory, you know what you're getting into. But this is one of the best knives I have ever handled. Full stop. I mean, it really is that good. This thing, I have basically nothing I can complain about. Just preference stuff. I wish it was a little bigger. That's about it. I mean, it's got the fuller so I can reverse flick it like I like to do. You could thumb flick it if you wanted to, probably. Yeah, you can thumb flick it. It's a little out to the side for my taste, but it is doable. And it's got a really good flipper. And you could probably, yep, you could kind of front flip it with your thumb. The only problem with it is it came with a little bit of detail lash, and since it's adjustable, that's not really a flaw. It's just, you know, set it how you want it. Nothing really to complain about other than the price. It's expensive, and it's also a little smaller than you're probably expecting if you see pictures of it online and you read XL. So don't expect a huge knife. Expect a PM3 size knife probably, and you're going to be happy with that, I think. Yep, nothing but praise for it, really. Absolutely wonderful knife. One of the best I've experienced. One of the smoothest actions. One of the most pleasant lock disengagements I've ever messed with. And I really like this weird front flipper that works just like a back flipper. That's nice. So it doesn't stick up into anything, doesn't get in the way, but it's still just as easy to use. Super cool design. 2 thumbs up from me. Mr. Brown, keep doing what you're doing. Guys, I think that's about all I got to say on this one. Like the video and subscribe, please. It helps me out. I need some of you rich sugar daddies to get on my Patreon and support me because I can't afford to do this much longer. I'm going to have to start reviewing cheaper knives. If you got, you know, $5 to spare, kick me some on Patreon. That would help more than you can even imagine. But if you can't afford that, I totally get it. I just really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching. And it means a lot to me. I love seeing your comments. I love seeing people come back and watch more videos. That just means that it makes me feel like I'm not wasting my time. And I really appreciate it. So thank you all very much, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.